Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Stretford Paddock. I am Alex, and here to bring you the latest Manchester United news. Hope you're all doing well. Make sure you're getting in the comments. Get your questions in. I will get to some of them at the end. How is everyone this Tuesday morning? I'm sure you're all still basking in the glory of our 2-0 win against Manchester City. But there were some results in the Premier League last night that have changed a little bit of the outlook of things. Joe, pull up that league table for us. So as you can see there, Manchester United is still 11 points behind Manchester City. And for some reason, City are playing twice before Manchester United will play in the league again, which may mean they can drop some more points and maybe give us a little bit of a boost going into the game against West Ham this weekend. But it could mean they'll be 17 points ahead of us before we kick off next in the Premier League. Also last night, Chelsea won 2-0 against Everton. That was the big game last night in terms of the top four. Chelsea now 4 points behind us, only 2 points ahead of West Ham. West Ham beat Leeds 2-0, which again puts them up into 5th position. West Ham and Everton both have games in hand, so they could still West Ham could leapfrog Chelsea and Everton could get on 49 points. So that top four race is going to look pretty tight. And this weekend's game again, but more than likely United want to finish strong and want to finish in those top four places. That is the big thing for Manchester United this season. And also a few people saying about, the tone of how we finish this season will look into next year. For as much as we may not compete for the title this year, I think if we can go on a good run towards the end of the season, maybe pick up another couple of good results against the bigger teams, beat the likes of Liverpool, beat the likes of Tottenham Hotspur, I think that might in some way, kick us on to next season. If we can be within the similar kind of position we are now behind Manchester City, I think that would be looking a lot better for Manchester United going into next season. Next, we have an update on Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford obviously came off after 73 minutes against Manchester City this weekend. Didn't have his best game, but all the attackers, for as much as they didn't do too much in terms of output, put an absolute shift in, and it kind of got summed up by Marcus Rashford's run back in the 70th minute that we were on the attack, City breaking, Marcus Rashford does a 60-yard run, takes the ball off the Manchester City players, only to then be injured. And he seemed to go over on his ankle. And James Ducker has had an exclusive, and he has said that the Manchester United forward has no ligament damage in his ankle. There's a lot of swelling around the ankle, but there's no ligament damage, which is massive. It looks like Marcus Rashford may miss the AC Milan game this week, which I think a lot of people go, thank God for that. Like, we kind of want Marcus Rashford to get a rest. We need Marcus Rashford to get a rest and to be fit and firing for the end of the season. So hopefully, if he can sit out this weekend, this weekend AC Milan, but be back fit either for the West Ham game or for the games in the coming weeks, I think that would be really good. That would be the main thing for, again, obviously this week, Henry Winter came out and explained that Marcus Rashford has had his injury of his shoulder that he's been carrying for a long, long time now. I think that, we've heard rumours about that for a long time, that Marcus Rashford has had a shoulder injury and has been carrying it and been playing under injections, and he does need a surgery on that. Marcus Rashford needs to rest when he's injured. And I think that it's one of the things that we've not had the capability of doing due to the lack of the squad that we've got. We've not got that many players in the forward positions. Dan James has started to come back into the fold this season, but realistically, Martial, Greenwood and Rashford have played a lot of games. Players like Henderson, Cavani, we'll come on to next, has come in and out of the team. He's been injured as well. We need a couple more players in those positions, not just we need to improve on a couple of those positions, but we need some squad rotation. We need to be able to do what Manchester City did at the weekend. They rested the likes of Bernardo Silva. They rested the likes of Phil Foden. Yes, they didn't get the result, but they could bring them on. Manchester United need to be able to do that in terms of squad. And they need to do that so that these players have a longer career, because pushing Marcus Rashford through this isn't the best thing. But slightly pretty good news in terms of Marcus Rashford. Not any ligament damage, meaning that he won't have an extended stay on the sidelines. It's looking like he will miss the AC Milan game this week, but he should be back on the pitch very, very soon. Now, the main story this morning is all around Edinson Cavani. Joe, I've lost my screen on here. If you could just sort that for me. We have main story this morning is around Edinson Cavani and some mixed reports yesterday. The first report coming out, this was from a journalist from Manu Oliveira, who is for DirecTV Sports. He said, we say Edison Cavani wants to play in South America again, and his first option is Boca Juniors in June. Knowing that he will have to lower his salary considerably, we will see if the negotiations are successful. So that was the news that broke yesterday, that Edison Cavani looking at going to Boca Juniors, and that kind of came out of the blue, really. I think that a lot of people were expecting Edison Cavani maybe to extend his contract. I think we do have the year to extend for Edison Cavani. So that came out of the blue yesterday and said that Edison Cavani looking at Boca Juniors. And now, look, he's had his injury problems this season, but he nowhere looks like he needs to drop out of the top 5 leagues. I think he can definitely do a job at Manchester United still next season. And depending on who Manchester United sign, and depending on whether we can get someone in terms of, there's obviously the Haaland links and other centre forwards that we have been linked to. But unless we get someone like that in, unless we get someone that and we still hang on to Anthony Martial, I think it would be ridiculous to let Edison Cavani leave Manchester United Football Club. And that then came on to, there was some news later on in that day, and that comes from Argentinian TV. And they have said that's not true. It's not true that Edison Cavani wants to leave, and he's very, very close to signing a new contract with Manchester United. I'll just pull that quote up so I can go through that for you. So Edison Cavani, contrary to reports, Edison Cavani has no intention of moving to Argentina and is close to renewing his contract with Manchester United in the coming weeks, and meeting is scheduled to close the deal to renew for another season. And that's from TYC Sports. That is an Argentinian news station. So again, 2 reports there, kind of contrary to each other, not from the most reliable of sources, not from the big sources and things like that. But it is looking, I think Manchester United will potentially extend Edison Cavani's future. I think that the form of Anthony Martial this season, who had a very good game at the weekend against Manchester City, I think that form and the fact that Manchester United are looking for a new centre forward, I still think that Edison Cavani needs to stay in and around the squad. I still think that he needs to be there to help guide the likes of Mason Greenwood, to help give us options. I mean, just looking at this week with Marcus Rashford injured and all these different things, we need more options up front, whether that's starters, whether that's the big signings of a Haaland or a Sancho. We just need bodies up there. And I think this is what a lot of Manchester United fans were frustrated in not seeing someone on the right wing coming in this season, not just for the fact that we didn't get a superstar like Jadon Sancho. It was more the fact that we didn't have the coverage for if Mason Greenwood dropped out of form, if Mason Greenwood got injured, if Dan James didn't quite hit any form. We didn't have enough players up front, and I think that is what we'll need to do in the summer. We need to add more forwards, just for the fact that we need a little bit more squad depth. We need to be able to rotate and things like that. Right, I will look at some of your guys' comments this morning. A few people asking on Paul Pogba. It's looking likely that they said it was going to be back this month, so it's potentially in the next couple of weeks. Ollie hasn't come out and said anything in terms of whether he will play. I think he's be speaking to the media ahead of the AC Milan game in the next coming days. They've not said anything in terms of whether Paul Pogba will be fit. I doubt he'll play in the AC Milan game. If he does, he'll probably come on, get 20 minutes in terms of try and build his fitness back. It's whether he will be fit in terms of being able to play at the weekend against West Ham, which, like I said at the start of the show, is a really important game for Manchester United, because if we do win that game, it just extends that top four buffer. Maybe, it's not pushing Manchester City for the title, but, cementing ourselves in second place, getting ahead of the top 4, getting out of that race, which looks like it's going to be all the way down to the end of the season. There's 4 or 5 teams that will definitely be in that 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th that are going to be sort of fighting for those top 4 places. And I think that Manchester United need to separate themselves with a big win against West Ham this weekend. Let's have a look more. We've got Palestri needs a mentor in Cavani. Palestri got he started for Deportivo Alaves this weekend. I think it's his first start for the club, and there's a couple of reports saying he did very, very well and shouldn't have been taken off. So look, he needs game time. He's still a young player. Good to see him getting some minutes over in Spain. Whether he'll come back and be a starter next season, I'm not too sure. But you're right, players like Edson Cavani around Palestri would be a very, very good thing. Few people asking about Haaland. That's going to be the one this summer. That's going to be the talk all summer. Whether it'll be, he's going to leave Dortmund in the next 2 years, and that's not because of where Dortmund are, whether they're in the Champions League, whether they're winning leagues. That's Raiola will want to cash in on Erling Haaland and get as much money as possible. Whether that's to Manchester United, Manchester City, Real Madrid, whoever it is, I do see him moving on. I think United have to be in for him. I think that he's one of those players that is showing himself as one of the top, if not the best striker in the world in world football at a very, very young age. Whether I see him come in with Mino Raiola as an agent, I'm not too sure. We've got Luke saying, need Cavani to sign 1-year contract. Even if he plays double of what Ighalo played, he would still be vital. I agree. And I think one of the big things with Edison Cavani is I'd love to see him in front of... We need to see him in front of fans. It's madness that we've not seen Edison Cavani play in front of fans at Old Trafford yet. I'm hoping he stays for next season. I hope that we can get to see Edison Cavani play. I'm hoping he'll play a big part in next season for Manchester United. What else do we have this morning? Haaland may well end up at City, which is disgusting. I tend to agree. I think there's definitely something there. Dara Brown says De Gea or Henderson. Henderson had a great game at the weekend. A solid performance. I think there's a couple of things in terms of him claiming a couple of crosses. The guys yesterday on the Paddock podcast really went into depth about our back four and our defensive mode. Make sure you go and check that out. It was really good. And, they talked about De Gea and Henderson. Do I think Henderson is better than De Gea right now? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not too sure. But I do think it's not too much to say that Henderson should be our number one now. I think that he could potentially step up there very, very shortly. I don't think we'd see too much of a difference. And I think that the way we're playing, the way that he claims the ball and the way he deals with things in the air, I quite like to see Henderson. Mikel saying sign Aguero on the free. Yep. For some reason, Stephen Howson pulled this out on his review at the end of the game. I was sat with him absolutely in shock when he said Aguero on the free. It's mad that he's not getting game time at City. It's mad that he didn't come on this weekend, considering how good of a striker he was. They needed goals, and not to bring on your all-time top scorer and one of the best strikers in the Premier League is crazy to me. Whether he'll come to Manchester United, I don't see that. I probably see him going abroad, but yeah, Aguero, madness. Is that going to happen? In the comments, they've got Stretford Paddock. James Ducker from the Telegraph said Haaland is Ollie's dream target this summer. Look, it's obviously his dream. I think he's going to have other options at centre forward. I do think centre forward is one of his areas he's looking to strengthen in, but it's one of them. We've seen how this board works. Do we see us signing a centre forward, someone on the right wing, someone at the back, and a midfield? Do we see 4 starting signings coming in this summer without us selling a lot of footballers, without us selling a Paul Pogba, without us getting back 100 million plus in transfers? I don't see it. So I think it's going to be a choice of either a centre forward or a Jadon Sancho or a right wing. I think there's going to be one or the other. I don't see both happening this summer. Seems like Haaland fancies Ollie, but not United. Think his old man plays a part in him not coming to United. That's from Jimmy Elridge. His old man decisions. I don't think he's too bothered about it. I don't think that's going to be it. I think it's all going to be about the timing, the money, and I think that the project he gets presented in front of him. We'll see how all that goes. I just don't see Haaland happening in the summer. I just don't see it happening. Will our youngsters get game time in the Europa League? I don't think so. I think he's going to go pretty strong with this. I think Ollie thinks that he's got the squad to manage to rotate things, to have a good, strong finish in the league. But I still think he wants to win the Europa League massively. He wants to win a trophy. I think he's going to go strong in the Europa League against AC Milan. I think he'll go strong in the FA Cup against Leicester. I think he's going to try and put a strong team out for the entire time coming in for the rest of the season. I do think that he'll put a strong team out. I don't think you'll see the likes of Galbraith and stuff like that come into the team. I think it's going to be a near or thereabouts first choice team for Manchester United. Rafinha from Leeds for right wing. I think we need to start looking at other options. I do think we need to start looking at the options that are going to cost us under the £50 million mark. I think that is what the Glazers are looking at. It's probably what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is looking at, knowing that he can't sign 2 superstars in this summer. Right, guys, that is all from me this morning. Make sure you are giving this video a like. Make sure you're subscribing to Stretford Paddock. We've got all sorts coming out. Do we have a youth review today, Joe? Yes. We do have a youth review. We do have a youth review coming out with Dave Pritt coming out very soon this afternoon. Dave Pritt and Jay Motti going through all the youth stuff as well as our loan players and looking at all that stuff. So make sure you're subscribed and hitting the notification bell. I said, make sure you like the video. I've been Alex, and I'll see you next time.